This just in, a thriller in Iowa City. Kyle Conrarty on from 54 yards out. It's up, and it's good for the win. The redshirt freshman, who didn't play football till high school, drills a 54-yard field goal to win it on the road in the Cyhawk game. Are you kidding me? Matt Campbell earns just his second win against Iowa. And a lot left on the field for the Hawkeyes. Iowa State held Iowa to 2 field goals in the second quarter when they had it on 1st and goal both times. They just were not effective. Iowa took a 19-7 lead. Then they went punt, 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 punt. Can't win a game. Punting. Can't do it. Can't do it. Iowa had won 23 straight games when leading by 13 points. And they do not win this one. They were up 13-0 at halftime. And then in the second half, Iowa State outscored them 20-6. And a little bit of an upset on the road in the Cyhawk game. CBS Sports HQ is presented by Belfour Property Restoration, CBS football, Big Ten football on CBS, and another wild ending. Kyle Conrarty, good from 54. Heck, it was good from 60, B-Mac.
Facts. The chaos continues. Week 2 in college football, and we're here for the entertainment. Big-time game for Iowa State. When you look at this game, it was a tale of 2 halves, right? In the first half, the Hawkeyes, they dominated. Yet and still, they allowed missed opportunities to really follow them into the second half. And for Iowa State, they just kind of kept their cool. They made a few adjustments here or there, and they just waited for the key opportunities, and they cashed in on those said opportunities. And that's why it's a full quarter ball game. Anytime you watch football on any level, it's 2 halves, but it's a full quarter ball game. You got to fight until you see zeros on the clock. And for Iowa State, they kept fighting, they cashed in, and this was one of the more entertaining games that we watched today.
How about the play of Rocco Becht on that final drive?
Huge.
He went to Jalen Noel a couple times, 10-yard pass, 30-yard pass to get him into field goal territory. You want to talk about ice in the veins? This is the son of Anthony Becht, the former Jets tight end. I mean, come on, this is incredible.
You talk about not blinking, because in the first half, he couldn't do anything right. I mean, his wide receivers could not get open to create separation. He wasn't hitting the wide receivers when they did have separations. Everything that you didn't want to go wrong was going wrong for Becht and his entire offense. But in the second half, I have his numbers here. He finished with 272 yards through the air for the entire ball game. But get this, he threw 205 yards in the second half. That's when he cashed in the most, because this was a defense in totality with the Hawkeyes, a highly respected unit. And they showcased that said respect in the first half. But Rocco and his offensive mates, they made some adjustments, and they just kept their foot on the gas, and they made plays, and big plays. It wasn't just the little small plays here or there. I'm talking about splash plays that gave them a momentum boost to be able to do what they did today with a game-winning walk-off field goal.
Every time I see a kid named Rocco, I always think of Rocco's Modern. You remember that? You remember that show back in the day? Both of us are old, so we know that show. I mean, what a way to win it for Iowa State, Kyle Conrarty, but really a bevy of missed opportunities for Iowa. I mean, just plenty, because there's a lot to go back and look at from Iowa's side. You
know, when I played with Pittsburgh Steelers, I always loved to reference my great defensive coordinator, Dick LeBeau.
Yep.
And one thing he said about playing defense, not just in the NFL, any level, the 2 situations in a ball game where you need to be at your best: third down, red zone. Nothing else really matters. But if you can play your best football in those 2 situations, you're going to be in position to win that ball game. Why I'm bringing that up? Because when you watch the game today, red zone defense was huge for Iowa State.
Huge.
In the first half, the Hawkeyes, they had an opportunity, if they cashed in on touchdowns, to go up 21-0 in the first half. I mean, trying to fight from behind 21 points against this Hawkeyes defense on the road would have been a tall, tall task. But because Iowa State stood up in the red zone and they forced field goals, that gave their offense the window of opportunity in the second half. And that is the tale of the two halves. Because if you're a defense, if you play your best football in the red zone, you're going to be in positions to win ball games if you force the opposing offense to kick field goals. And you know what I call that red zone defense? I call it bend but don't break. Yep. Elbow defense. Yep. You can bend, but it won't break. And today, Iowa State's defense, they didn't break.
Time now for the Belfour Player of the Game.
They didn't break.
A couple players you give it to here. Who you got?
I got to give special teams some love right here.
Okay.
Kyle Conradi had an unbelievable day. Yes, he hit you with the game-winning field goal, but just how cool, calm, and collected he was in 4 quarters. And a 54-yard field goal is a long, long distance, not just for a professional kicker, but heck, for a collegiate kicker as well. In a rivalry-like setting, the atmosphere, everything that was going on, and all the marbles are in the middle of the table, and it's your job to bring home the bacon. Guess what? I don't know if you like pork bacon or turkey bacon, whatever it was, Kyle brought it home.
Kyle Conradi, good from 54. Heck, it was good from 60.
Facts.
20-19, Iowa State in a rivalry game goes to Iowa City and beats the Hawkeyes 20-19 to raise the Cy-Hawk Trophy, one of the best rivalries in all of college sports. And for more, let's get right to the site. Welcoming Gary Danielson, who called this game on CBS from Kinnick Stadium. And Gary, my goodness, what an ending, what a game to what you saw. Give me a sense of what it was like inside that stadium at the end of it.
You know, at halftime, I'm sitting around thinking, all right, what do I talk about for Iowa State to get back in the game? They earned the chance, as you guys were talking about. They earned the chance to be in the game in the second half. What came to mind was they're squatting. They are squatting on throws. Nesbitt and I were talking about it, and all of a sudden, they dial one up, and that really changed the football game. That deep 75-yard touchdown pass right after Iowa put it in. Remember, they went for 2, come right back with a score. That got that Iowa State Cyclone team believing, and from there it was a battle. And they ended up winning the battle, and it was fun to watch. You know, if you're a Hawkeye fan, it isn't, but great competition.
Gary, how about Rocco Becht in the second half? It was a tale of two halves for him. That drive to get into field goal range. I mean, you want to talk about some big-time throws. Those are some big-time throws I know you appreciate.
I thought everybody for Iowa State was a bit nervous, just didn't really have their feet on the ground, their cleats in the grass. Kind of a slow start, but it was everywhere. The offensive line, the receivers felt like they were not in connection with the quarterback. You're right, that defense, those 2 goal line stands, saving 8 points, forcing 2 field goals from Iowa, that changed the game. That made it a football game in the second half, and Matt Campbell was able to go in at halftime and sell his team that 1 touchdown could change the game, and it did.
And shouts to John Heacock, who's been there for a long time at Iowa State. His defense standing on its head when it needed to be. I mean, great job by the Cyclones this afternoon. And if you're an Iowa fan, you're sitting here going, okay, we have this new OC in Tim Lester, but now you're like, okay, same old Iowa. What's the message for Hawkeye fans? Because they feel like, here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, if you're a Hawkeye fan, it looked about the same, right? I mean, the defense plays about as good as they can. When they face a passer like Rocco Becht and those 2 receivers, Null and Higgins, those are 2 really good high-level receivers, and sooner or later, that defense, no matter how much and how fancy you get and how many calls, it's going to break down. Good passing game can throw the ball in anybody. You need more points. Iowa was not able to throw the ball well enough. I thought funny call to start the second play, a throwback pass, turned out to be a disaster with interception. Then they tried a bootleg pass. Remember, it took too long for a sack when they really needed a couple of first downs. So all in all, just wasn't good enough from the Iowa offense.
It was not, and Kyle Conradi booting it 54 yards through the uprights for the win on the road. And Gary, I don't know if you heard, but Notre Dame lost at home to Northern Illinois. Yeah, and your guys are going to be playing Notre Dame next week. You're going to be there. That's going to be a heck of a game on tap after this one that Notre Dame dropped.
Well, it doesn't. That means Notre Dame probably can't lose another game. I mean, to lose to Northern Illinois, that's a bad loss. Even though for Iowa now, everybody kind of thought they were going to be favored in all but one game at Ohio State. Now if they lose again to Ohio State and don't win the Big Ten championship, they're up against it to get in the playoffs. This is a tough loss for the Hawkeyes.
Gary Danielson at Kinnick Stadium, where Iowa State rallies on the road to win by a field goal. Great stuff as always, Gary. Appreciate the conversation here on CBS Sports HQ. Safe travels. And we will see Gary next week at his alma mater. He was a standout at Purdue. They'll welcome in Notre Dame, followed by Colorado State, a rivalry game there as well. You can watch the action live on Paramount+. We'll have complete coverage right here on CBS Sports HQ. Coming up, back out to Kinnick Stadium, a wild one in the Cy-Hawk game.